The Warrior Nation is in a state of suspense. Just imagine an NBA regular season that has barely started, and we're already facing serious, unexpected obstacles that hit right at the heart of our team. Stephen Curry, the superstar driving the squad, is sidelined due to an injury. But it's not just him. On top of Curry's absence, there's a new update shaking up our rotation even more. Yes, the Golden State Warriors have confirmed another significant loss. So, if you're a Warriors fan like me, you know how much this affects our performance in the upcoming games. And that's not all. The situation is getting more complicated, and we'll dive deeper into how this is going to shape our season soon. Against the Clippers, one of the strongest defensive teams in the league this season, we suffered our first loss of the regular season. And there's no doubt that Curry's absence was felt. This wasn't the start to the season we were hoping for. But with this new absence, we're facing a twist that demands answers and new strategies to keep the team competitive. Subscribe now and hit that like button to keep getting all the updates about this challenging situation for the Warriors. If you're like us, eagerly waiting to see the team triumph even amid adversity, this is a place to stay in the loop on every detail. The impact of injuries on the Warriors doesn't stop there. As we look for ways to fill in for Curry, things are getting worse with DeAnthony Melton's injury, a bench player who has been a true asset for the team. As reported by ESPN, Melton has a back injury and will miss the next 2 games. This is tough news that weighs heavily on our rotation. Melton has proven essential for the Warriors, especially in games against the Trail Blazers and the Jazz, where his performance secured crucial points for the team. He's that type of player who can come off the bench and still bring strength and consistency, providing assists, rebounds, and reliable scoring when the team needs it most. In 3 games this season, Melton averaged 6.3 points, shooting 36.8% from 3 and 35% overall. He also contributed 2.7 assists and 1.7 rebounds per game. Even with this solid performance, his absence leaves a gap that the Warriors will have to fill with other players. Now the responsibility falls on Moses Moody, another bench name that Steve Kerr is counting on to step up. Moody has been showing great performance, averaging 15 minutes on the court and 10 points per game, along with consistent contributions in rebounds and assists. He's young, energetic, and ready to take this opportunity. Moody is our hope for support amid this wave of challenges. With Curry and Melton out, his load will increase, along with the responsibility to keep the team competitive. With each game, he's shaping up to be a relevant name in the Warriors' rotation, bringing that vital energy we need. The Warriors are on the brink of an important stretch of games. With the New Orleans Pelicans arriving at the Chase Center on October 29th, followed by a rematch on October 30th, we'll have the chance to regroup at home. After that, it's time to hit the road and face the Houston Rockets on November 2nd. Each of these games will be crucial to see how the team responds to these absences. There's no doubt. It's a pivotal moment for the Warriors. Let's see how this team reacts, how the bench players will grow, and how this adjusted rotation will rise to the challenge. So, for all you fans out there, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and stick with us to follow every step of our Golden State Warriors journey of overcoming adversity. Imagine an unexpected name popping up as a potential acquisition for the Golden State Warriors. Someone who would bring a totally new dynamic to the roster and who was once a star on the court, but is currently struggling to find himself. That name is Ben Simmons, the guard forward from the Brooklyn Nets and 3X All-Star, who has recently been discussed as an impactful addition for the Warriors. The idea might seem bold, but Simmons' situation opens up an intriguing possibility that no one saw coming. For now, it's just a possibility, but it certainly piques the interest of fans. Bringing in a player of Simmons' caliber, even in a challenging phase of his career, could surprisingly change the team's momentum. In such a complete roster like the Warriors, where there are still adjustments to be made, could this idea actually gain traction throughout the season? Steve Kerr and his team are starting the season with a solid lineup, with a 12-man rotation is already raising questions about who should be getting minutes on the floor. The team faces a challenge of finding the ideal balance, especially now with 3 initial games and a record of 2-1, following a recent loss to the LA Clippers. And yet, Simmons' name lingers as a possibility, something that undoubtedly stirs the imagination of the fans. If this possibility sparks your curiosity, go ahead and hit like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any details about the Warriors' next steps and the analysis we'll provide on possible trades and future moves. Now, let's dive a little deeper into the impact Simmons could have on the team. Even though the team already has its tax bracket defined, which prevents immediate signings, there's always a chance for future negotiations. The Warriors could still pursue a strategic trade, maybe a 3-for-1 or even a 4-for-1 deal, where, after some exits, there could be room for a new star alongside Stephen Curry. Bringing in a player like Simmons in this context could provide valuable depth, even if his current form is far from what it once was. It was Bill Simmons from The Ringer who raised this possibility, suggesting that Simmons could be one of the most interesting acquisitions in a trade window. He believed Simmons could find in Golden State a backup role for Draymond Green, offering an alternative with defensive skills and court vision that, on paper, align well with the Warriors system. What's impressive about this proposal is the chance to see Simmons, a former All-Star, rebuilding his career while playing alongside figures like Curry and Green. Although the Australian has gone through highs and lows in recent years, his defensive ability and versatility on the court are qualities that still hold value, especially for a team that values strategy and teamwork. For many, Simmons' journey feels somewhat tragic. At his peak in Philadelphia, he was a bright prospect, even receiving MVP votes in 2020-21. But the current landscape is quite different. Over the past few seasons, he has dealt with a series of injuries and inconsistencies that limited his court presence to just 50 out of 249 possible games. This sharp decline raises doubts, but also hope for a reinvention. Simmons' start to the season suggests a timid return to the game, with averages of 5.0 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 5.7 assists in the first 3 games. Sure, those numbers aren't impressive, but they reveal a player who still has the potential to contribute if used strategically. For the Warriors, who are seeking an increasingly sharp rotation, Simmons could be an interesting piece, even with his offensive limitations. If the Nets enter a rebuilding phase and consider offloading Simmons, the Warriors could indeed think about this acquisition. Of course, it all would depend on the changes the team plans to implement, especially with Kerr's emphasis on a dynamic, high-scoring game. Simmons, with his more defensive-oriented and playmaking style, would need to adapt to the Warriors' pace, but there is room for him to find a new role. Could Simmons, after all these twists and turns, really become a reliable name on the Warriors roster? And would the combination with Golden State's winning culture be enough to bring back the shine of such a promising player? What do you think? Leave your comment below and share your opinion. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more exclusive content on all the news and possibilities surrounding the Golden State Warriors.